Hi there, it's Mel from Inspired Crafts. Today's little video is just showing you how to build a much larger card. It's giving you the basics on what you need to be able to do the candle card that I've recently posted for an 80th birthday. So you can build it as big or as small as you need. Okay, so the first things I'm going to show you is I'm using the Beautiful Balloons stamp set, and I'm also using the Designer Series paper from this set. Okay, so first of all, I've got some strips of cardstock. This is Lemon Lime Twist, and it's been cut at 1 inch deep by 11.5 inches and scored at 5 3/4 inches. I've also got some pieces that are 4 inches deep by 3 inches, scored at 1.5 inches. And then I've got some card bases that are again 11.5 by 4 inches, scored at 5 3/4 inches. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how I do my it's not a cake topping, but it's a band that goes across the bottom of the card, and then the candles sort of go on top of that. So all I've done, using the same tone of ink and the large balloon, I've randomly just sort of inked up and pressed down, and I've done that all the way along, just so that it adds a bit of texture. Okay, so that's the first bit. You need obviously one of those for each of your card bases. So the card bases are very straightforward. They're just your bog standard card base. Let me move that out of the way. And see, be your front cover, as in any normal card. And then these are going to sit just along the bottom of the edge like that, so it folds and it'll be glued there. Now for each half of the card you can fit 8 candles, so depending on how many candles you want to put on a card. I obviously did lots. I did 80 on the last one, so I needed at least 10 of these put together. So I'll show you how to do that before we do anything else. Okay, so you've got your 2 card bases, and they do need to be able to obviously fold, and this is where our 4 by 3 inch pieces come into play. Okay, so you're going to just glue, get my glue, find one that's got some glue in. I'm just going to glue. You can use Tombow, you can use tear and tape, you could use seal, whichever is your preferred glue. I like the Tombow on things like this because you just have that sort of extra bit of wiggle room. Okay, so I've just stuck that onto the back of there like that. And obviously the next piece is going to fold this way. So for that I'm just going to take my next card base and glue that on there. You don't need to worry about which way it folds at the moment, because obviously you can bend them backwards and forwards to bend whichever way you need. It's just popping it on up to the score line. So then, as I say, you can then bend them backwards and forwards. And and you build it up in the same way until you've got all of your sheets together. So for the inside of the card, as I say, this is scored again at 5 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to run some glue onto there, and then it's a case of just literally lining it up along the bottom. Okay, you may have just a little bit that you want to trim off, but you don't need to. It's easier doing this when I haven't got the camera holder in place. Okay, so for the candles, as I say, they fit 8 really nicely on to each half, and all I've done is cut some strips of designer series paper. You can use any designer series paper that you fancy to make the candles. This is, as I say, the one from the Beautiful Balloons, Bright and Beautiful set. They're 2.5 inches tall and they're 1/2 inch wide. And all I did was next was just go along and place the candles firstly down on to the card so that I can ensure that I'm getting them in the right sort of measurements, the right gaps. You know, obviously depending on what colours you want, whether you want solid ones, patterned ones, there's all sorts of. So okay, so we go, I don't want another star at the moment. I've only cut a few out because I didn't want to go cutting too many at this stage. So we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So obviously you can move them around once you've got them on there. You move them around a little bit just to make sure your gaps are about the same and you can fit them all on. Okay, so you do that again for however many you need, multiples of 8. Then once you're happy with the spacing, you just need to stick them down. Now I've left about 1 inch at the top. That will be for the candle flame. And there are various ways you can be creative with the candle flame. You might want to, I don't know, there may be a punch that you've got that you think you might be able to make a candle flame type of piece out of. I'm actually going to be using, and I've kept it purposely for this, is the candle stamp from one of the kits. It's the shaker card kits for the birthday. So I'm just going to pop these down. Doesn't matter if they're not exactly straight, it will just give a bit of variation on the candle, but you want them fairly straight and lined up. So that's number 7. Number 8. Okay, so this is the stamp set that came with that shaker card birthday kit, and this is the candle that I'm using. So you want to be able to stamp really closely to the top of this paper, so you need to have a bit of scrap, so you could either use a post-it note or some masking paper, or just anything really, a bit of scrap paper even. I'm gonna use a post-it note for now because that's what I've got hold of, and I've lined it right up to the top. Actually, I'll stick the sticky end this way. And then the yellow flame, this one's Daffodil Delight. You could probably use crushed curry quite easily. And then I'm just, as you can see, I've just inked up the flame part, and I'm going to just pop that down you might want to just use an actual stamping mat, because it is a photopolymer stamp, but you'll get the gist of what I'm doing. I've changed it, that's a bit better now. So you just go along all of your candles. Just finish this one as well. Just be careful about not getting any ink caught anywhere else. The good thing with this flame is if you do get a bit missing, you can stamp back onto it quite easily. And there's your first 8 candles. Obviously you can decorate then the front with anything that you feel like. I actually used some of the Memories and More from the same suite, and I also had a double back, so I could just put a big happy birthday and then write on this one. Okay, so that is really it. It's just the 3 by 4 inch scored halfway, 1.5 inch, which holds the card bases together. Your 1 inch strip, you could use DSP as I say for this, but I've just teamed it all up so that it all matches. And then your 2.5 inch by 1/2 inch strips of designer series paper, patterned paper of any sort, to make all your candles, and something to do the candle flame. Okay, so I hope you find that useful, and I would love to see any cards that you make using this technique. Thanks for joining me. Bye.